Hey guys, Sam from Panel Precision. Today we're going to go over the new Bushnell Forge 15x56 Binocular and do a quick overview and give you some of my first impressions of it. Okay, so if you've been watching my reviews for a long time, you know that I'm not a big fan of, what's in the box kind of reviews, so I'm going to do a little exception on this one, but we'll hurry up and get it out of the box. Like I was saying, this is the Bushnell Forge 15x56. Just like all of the other Forge products I've looked at over the last few months, as well as the Elite Tactical, it comes in a pretty nice box. Anyway, you open up the box, and right on top, here's an outline of all the features of the Forge. And then there's a quick, how to adjust your diopter on the back side of it. And then I assume this is some kind of a warranty thing. And then inside, we have the good stuff. So now we have the box out of the way. So anyway, you can see this comes packaged very well. This is a hard case. I recognize it because that's the same way these 8x42s came packaged. So we have a hard case that the binocular goes in. Let's see what's inside this little guy. So inside, we have the binocular in a nice soft carrying bag, as well as a chest strap. This is a kind of a shoulder harness that comes over the front, and you can hold the binoculars that way. Regular old neck strap. A tripod mount for the binocular. I assume this is a strap to hold the case. And then we have a couple of hex keys here, probably to put that tripod mount on it, and a spud for cleaning the lens. And then of course this is just the hard case, and these things are pretty stout. Jake carried the 8x42s in his last year in his pack before I got him a padded chest harness for it, and it works pretty well. Alright, so let's take this thing apart and take a peek. Okay, like I was saying, the whole Forge line, at least the stuff I've looked at, comes very well packaged. This comes in a like a nice, I don't even know how to describe it, some kind of a really nice cloth carrying case. And inside we have the binocular, and inside that case it's even packed in a plastic bag. So let's get her out and just get rid of that. And here we have the binocular. That's a serious piece of glass there. That thing is stout looking. So just for comparison, this is the 8x42 Forge and this is the 15x56. They're both the same color, obviously. They call that terrain. It's just kind of a brown color. Right on top, a hook to the binocular when you get it, are these lens covers for the objective lens. These come off. You just undo this little snap on the front and you can take those off if you don't want them there. But that's a good way to protect that objective lens. So up on top we have the ocular cover, and these will thread through the neck strap if you want to keep them on the neck strap. The cool thing about these, something I found out last year with the 8x42s, is that one side is captured, so you run through the strap and it can't come off. The other side has a notch in it, so you can just slip it over the strap and keep it on there. So if you want to do something quick about getting this out of your way, you can just pull this loose and the other side will just hang free. Alright, let's go over a few specs on the 15x56 Forge. Obviously, it's a 15 power magnification binocular. It's just a classic roof prism binocular. 56mm objective lenses, 25mm on the ocular side here. It's about 8 3/4 of an inch long and about 5.5 inches wide across the front here. Now this is coming in at about 50 ounces. It's a pretty heavy binocular, but I guess that's understandable considering the amount of glass that's right here in this relatively small package. Now, this uses ED prime glass and Bushnell's PC3 coating, both of which are designed to help reduce or eliminate chromatic aberrations, which is kind of like, when you're looking at something through an optic and you're looking at the edge of it, you'll see a color that just doesn't look like it belongs there. It's called color fringing, and it really wrecks your contrast and your resolution. That's what ED prime glass does for you. It helps reduce that or eliminate it. It uses that glass. Now on top of that, they also use what they call EXO Barrier, which is just something that they actually bond to the glass that helps keep dust and water and things like that from sticking to the lens. So in other words, that stuff might get on the lens, but if you look at a binocular or a rifle scope with EXO Barrier and then compare it to one without, the one without will tend to keep more of those droplets and more of that dust sitting on the lens, even when it's sitting here like this, vertical. Whereas the EXO Barrier, most of that stuff will just fall right off of it, which is actually pretty cool. Of course, this is completely waterproof. I believe it's called IPX7, which means that you can submerge this for up to 30 minutes in 3 feet of water. Now, if you've seen any of my other reviews, you know that as part of this comprehensive review, this is going to get tested to make sure that it can indeed do that. But anyway, there's a quick rundown of the specs on it. Alright, here's a close-up view of the 15x56 next to the 8x42 forge. It's like having two 15 power spotting scopes glued together, which is kind of cool. Now you are going to lose a little bit of field of view. The 15x56 comes in at 235 feet at 1,000 yards, whereas the 8x42 was 426 feet at 1,000 yards. But I'm hoping it'll make up for it by giving a lot better detail on the view of what we're looking at. So, if I'm looking at a hillside at 1,000 yards, it's great that I have 426 feet I can see of it all at once, but I can only see that at 8 power. With the 15x56s, I'll be looking at whatever I'm looking at 15 power. So, let's keep in mind that this is a specialty optical device. This is something you're going to use for long-range scouting or long-range hunting or, say, shed hunting or, taking it to PRS matches, and you can probably be able to watch trace all the way out and see impacts on target. So anyway, we'll see how it all plays out during the full review. Alright guys, let's see if I can pull this off on video by myself. And we're talking about the tripod adapter, and I just figured it out. So we have this cap that we take off. For those of you with young fingers, this will be easier. Then the stud goes into place. And we can tighten it with this. It also has an extra insurance hex screw to put tension on the stud body. So now we have the stud in place. So then this piece goes over the top of it, locks in place, and we can screw that down. Now we have our tripod adapter hooked up to the binocular. So what I'll do is I'll put my Manfrotto attachment on here, my quick release plate, and we'll stick it up on a tripod. Okay, so here's the tripod adapter. I've got my Manfrotto quick release plate on it, and this thing hinges like this. I believe that's in the design. So when we stick it down on our plate here, lock it in place, and then we need to lock our tripod head. It just stays there. So when you pull on this, it's solid. When you push it like that, it tilts, it pivots. I believe that's so that you can get to that stud and disconnect the whole thing. So if you want to take it off the tripod, you can just pull it right off like that. So the stud stays in the binocular until you take it off with the hex key, and then you can just pull this right off and walk around with it or whatever you need to do. And then I assume we can just hook right back up to it the same way and just tighten down that screw to secure it. And there it stays. So, if you need to pan, you can pan around. Say you want to stop right there, you just lock your tripod head in place and you're looking at whatever you're looking at. So that's a pretty cool setup. What I've been using in the past is just a simple bungee strap thing that holds the body of the binocular in place. But I know a lot of guys like that front stud hookup, so there it is. Okay, well, as soon as we get some of our snow melted off, I'll be able to get into some of my areas so I can get out and really start testing these and checking them out. Before I forget, one thing I did forget to mention, over here on the ocular end, this is a 3-position lens, so it's locked down, one in the middle, one up on both lenses. on the right lens, on the right barrel. It has a locking diopter, so when you pull the ring out, you can adjust it. When you push it back in, it's locked in place. I believe I got everything else, all the other features on this, but if not, be looking for it in a future video. Alright, so I'm not gonna... This is obviously a nice binocular. I've looked at them. I looked at one pretty heavily at SHOT Show and played around with it, and I could tell it was a nice binocular. But this is not the whole review on this. So be looking in the future for a comprehensive review on this binocular once we actually get out in the woods and start looking at things that are supposed to be looked at with binoculars. But anyway, this is kind of just a real quick overview to give you a quick peek at it. I think, you know, if it all works out well, this is one heck of a bargain. You know, they're coming in at $829 right on Bushnell's website, full retail, for a 15x56 binocular with ED prime glass. So if the performance is anything like the 8x42s that we played with last November, this is going to be a phenomenal long-range spotting type binocular for guys that are, you know, hunting in the desert, or the thing I'm looking forward to is when Jake and I go long-range varmint hunting with this. You know, being able to pick out small targets in dense vegetation at long range. I think these are going to be the cat's meow for that. Antelope hunting in Wyoming. Is that buck really as big as we think he is? Is it worth getting in a position to try to make a shot on him? Keep an eye on our social media at Panel Precision. We'll be posting some updates about this, I'm sure, as well as some more video. I'm going to try to do some video through the lenses and see what I can come up with. Alright, well that's about it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.